today is unequivocally a day that I don't really want to be here, but I am here anyway because I want to fight through the apathy and the lethargy and all the chattering little monkey voices that are telling me that it's okay and more okay than normal to chill out and sit down on the couch and put my feet up. I'm not talking about beasting yourself. That is not the message of today in today's video. And when you're in dire need of recovery and some self-care, just fucking goggins in your way through. I'm not at all a believer in that approach, but physiologically I'm fine. Mentally, I feel there's just a lot of shit going on, as I'm sure there is with a lot of people. But for me, I used to have to drag myself to the gym when I was feeling down. I'm still kind of doing that a little bit today. But one of the things that I do anchor into is I just have so many flipping experiences. I have so much data, so much self-reported history of going to the gym when I feel like shit and feeling better from it. And in the spirit of complete openness and honesty, recent breakup, I moved out of my flat yesterday. I'm now back up here in Sheffield with Ben the Bounce Simons, and my future now as a 35-year-old washed-up athlete is looking less and less certain, which can be fun, can also be quite daunting. But I am using today's session, this is kind of why I brought the camera along actually. I just thought that this was a message that it might be valuable to communicate. Sometimes when you have certain narratives in your mind and you find yourself in this flipping holding pattern of rumination, it can be really, really hard to just silence your mind and shut it up. And the only way that I've found, the only mechanism that I've found that's been particularly helpful is to find a healthy distraction. So I'm here, I'm gonna do an upper body session in a minute, last few little bits of warm up, and then I shall walk you through what we're doing. Warm up and med ball primer done, and I am already feeling a little bit of lubrication in my flipping dopamine receptors, which is good. So it's amazing how quickly this shit works when you start to do something that is, I don't know, primarily satisfying, moving your body. You start to feel a bit healthier. So, cheers Siri. So today what we are going to do is, I'm not going to go super heavy. I had a long travel yesterday. I haven't had a particularly active morning and it's like 2 o'clock now. So I think the thing that would work best for me right now is basically focusing a little bit more on a hypertrophy circuit. And one of the things that I like to do actually is have something that is almost, this is a bit weird, but deliberately quite mind-numbing. So it just forces you into this mindful state, because I like the idea of having something to do for about 20 minutes. It's gonna suck already within the first 2 or 3, but it doesn't get any worse. And the whole purpose of today's video is to, when you do feel a little bit shit, when you do feel a little bit down, to do something that A, is amazing for your body, B, is amazing for parking your mind, but C, also really reinforces that feeling and that sense of capability. And that is one of the things that just getting a little bit of, not necessarily a sweat, or somewhere between a sweat on and a pump on, definitely getting a flipping upper body pump, which is what we're gonna go through now, that does that for me. So effectively 70 kilos on incline bench and body weight pull-ups. I'm gonna do neutral grip. I'm gonna do 100 reps of each, and I can break it up however I want. I've done this a couple of times where I've done all the bench and then all the pull-ups, but now basically I'm gonna break it up in whatever sense, and effectively kind of flick between, give my push levers a little bit of a break when I do pull-ups and vice versa. So I reckon, oh mate, I have absolutely no idea, 25 minutes maybe. I think I'd got about 25, 26, 27 when I did this all bench and then all pull-ups. So in theory this should be a little bit quicker, but I don't know. So 25 minutes is the target, let's go. And 3, and 2, and 1, and in we go guys. So 100 reps in incline bench at 70 kilos and 100 pull-ups. It's really difficult if you're not used to this kind of workload and this kind of rep range, how the hell to kind of structure how many reps you're doing before you start to break it up. An overall kind of sponsoring key for this, guys, is just make sure that you do not go all the way to failure. So I reckon I could have done about 15 on the bench and about probably, 15 or 20 absolute max on the pull-ups, a few sets in. So I stuck around 10, probably all the way up actually to about rep, I think 60, anywhere between kind of 55 and 65. And the pull-ups felt kind of consistent throughout. As you're seeing here, this is about halfway through the full workout now. So this was when I was either doing a set of 10 or a set of 8, which is what I went down to after that kind of rough 55 mark. And it was the last 1 or 2 reps that felt a little bit more spicy, but overall that was okay. The bench, as you see here, that's when it's getting a little bit more difficult, far more than the pull-ups. I'm having to really use that dynamic, kind of ballistic, elastic nature. And I'm having to do it a little bit on the pull-ups as well. As you're seeing here, I kept neutral grip pretty much throughout. I think I did underhand grip for 1 or 2 sets, but just making sure my chin is above the level of the bar, full extension, and trying to ensure that I don't really kip throughout. Just finishing off now on the bench press. I think the final few sets, so as I said, I did 10s all the way up to about 55, then I went down to sets of 8, and I think these ones, this final set was a set of around about 6. And that was okay actually, because I luckily am quite elastic. I can kind of bash through the first 4 or 5 reps fairly quick. But as you can see here on the incline bench, the last 2 reps were definitely a little bit spicier than I was kind of hoping for. But a couple of big deep breaths. I've looked at my watch. I know that I'm way ahead of time. I'm going to jump up on that bar. Number 1, number 2. I'm just kind of running the clock down now, but I'm going to make sure that I do all of these reps properly. Don't just sprint over the line. Make sure you get every single one of the 100 reps done right. And that is that workout part done. 19:23. I was aiming for 25. So bloody. As I said, I've done this a couple of times, 2 or 3 times before. Not with incline, with flat, but I've done 100 reps of the bench as like a buy-in to 100 reps of the pull-ups. But going back and forth, man, Jesus. Obviously it's more aerobic, and you do get more of a, I don't know if you get more of a pump, but I feel a bit sick basically because there's a lot of vascular shunting going on because my body doesn't know where the fuck the blood's supposed to go. That could be, you know, a session all on its own. Just that 20-minute period, obviously with a little bit of warm-up, but I'm gonna go for a little wander outside, get my breath back, hopefully not vomit, and then for section 2. Well, that was turbo miserable. I haven't felt sick like that in a long time from exercise, and I definitely I don't know if I've ever felt that sick from something that's purely upper body. Obviously it's the lower body stuff that's normally more intense, a huge amount of lactic dumping if you're doing some, you know, heavy drags or carries or something, or you know, quick, like heavy sled pushes don't really do it for me, but really quick sled pushes do. Flipping neck, man, upper body only, and I'm absolutely fried from that. But we again, like, been a crazy couple of days. Life has got in the way, man. Life has got in the way. But then it doesn't get in the way. Like, who am I? I wouldn't be so entitled actually to think that I should go through life without any ups and downs. Like, it's a crazy fucking wild jungle. We're just a bunch of mammals that have, you know, in generalities agreed to cooperate to a certain point. But realistically, the world's still a crazy place, and the modern Western world is busier than a lot of people would like it to be, but that is the world that we live in. So with that being said, I won't moan too much. Overall, I'm healthy. Overall, I'm happy, just with a few hiccups recently, but coming here, and as you can see, just in that, obviously other than the fact that I feel sick, in theory, if you only had 30 minutes, you come in, do a quick warm-up, and then do a session like that, and you get a really good kind of localized pump to the muscles that you're working. Bit of an aerobic benefit as well, and more importantly, if life is busy and in some ways troublesome and kind of, in inverted commas, life is getting in the way, then you get a huge dopamine dump as well. Right, so I'm not going to do anything remotely taxing now, otherwise I think I will purge my fucking lungs up. But what I'm going to do is I'll do some biceps, I will do maybe a little bit of core and some rear scap work, bit of prehab rehab. So I'll use the next kind of 10-15 minutes as an opportunity to do that. And as always, that's enough waffle, let's get going. And that is me done, guys. Still feel sick for those of you that are concerned, but there we go. Push through that last little bit of bicep, do a bit of unilateral core work, and then just some palm facing up, rear scap work. And I find those band pull aparts. Little tip for you: palm facing up works everything at the back of the shoulder very differently than if palms were facing down and you were internally rotated. So externally rotate, palms towards the sky, much sweeter burn. So that is that session done, and not just saying this performatively, I do feel better, despite the fact that I feel a bit sick. But it's just so fucking rewarding when you do carve a little bit of time out for yourself, when you prove to yourself that A, something that serves you is worth your time, effort, energy and money, and B, it just, you know, when you feel as though your back's against the ropes, and you know, in other paradigms of life, personally, professionally, or whatever, I'm not saying this is for me at the moment, I'm just using this as an example. If you feel as though your back's against the ropes and a shitload of things are going wrong, it's nice to come and do something like this and reinforce a sense of capability, especially as a guy, when I do believe there is a bit of a crisis with that and we don't really know what our role is. I still don't really know what the role of a man is, but I definitely feel better and feel primarily satisfied when I remind myself, through putting myself in a pain cave even for 30-40 minutes, that I am capable. And it truly is. I use the term primarily satisfying a lot. I use it fairly regularly now on this channel, but there's a reason for that, that it seems to fit so well and seems to be a very accurate, resonating articulation of the way that it feels when you're busy, that you prove to yourself that you're not fucking useless when things go wrong, because you come here and this is the ultimate meritocracy. There is no way that you can get someone else to train for you. You cannot outsource the hard work. You can stack it in your favor, you can go to a class, you can get new kit, you can do whatever you want, but the hard yards are something that you and you alone have to put in. And sometimes that might feel like a disadvantage, but that's one of the reasons why physiques and fitness metrics and stuff are so impressive, because you know they put the goddamn graft in. Right guys, that is all from me today. If you did enjoy this video, please do smash that like button. Any questions on anything, put it down in the comment section below. And as always, beautiful people, stay strong, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next video.